Welcome to Basketball on Figueroa, the only podcast breaking down everything happening with the Lakers, Clippers, and Sparks. I'm your host, Edwin Garcia, and joining me today, as usual, is my co-host, Dar E. and Viziri, aka Dime Dropper. Dime, how you doing, man?
I'm solid, Edwin. Just got back from the Sparks game, just like yourself. So that was cool. Been seeing you more now since I've been going to so many games. Excited to talk about Sparks and, of course, some other major stuff my team this time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We'll get into free agency and where things are. It's so funny, it's someone asked me today, they're like, how long have you been doing this? And I'm like, I couldn't give them an easy answer. I'm like, well, if you think of the first time I wrote, it's this year. And if you think of when I've been doing it full time, it's that year. And if you think about the first most credential, it's this year. So I'm like, I had like three different answers. But if you want to consider this my rookie season, let's say full time, everyone told me, oh, don't worry, the summer it's gonna like chill out for a minute. It has not chilled out. It was like the WNBA is like ramping up in like ways that it never has before. It's an Olympic year. And then with free agency, like we really, it won't slow down until like maybe August, which is dope for us because I love doing this stuff. But I'm like, yeah, it was not the break I was sold. It's been busy. So this episode especially is going to be, probably one of our most jam packed. We have so much to talk about. We could easily do it for 2 hours, but we're gonna try to make sure we stay at that 1 hour mark. So we gotta be like super tight because there's like Laker games this week, there's Clipper games this week, there's Sparks games this week, there's free agency for both teams, and the NBA and the W is obviously raring to go. So I figure we're gonna go kind of a little bit around. We'll start with tonight's game since it just happened, and then we'll go into Lakers Clippers free agency, and then we'll kind of go into just how things have happened in LA basketball, starting from Friday up to now. So that's kind of how we'll work through things. So let's just start with this one. Dime, obviously, it was a disappointing game, 82-67. And that score doesn't even really represent how dominant Minnesota was. I saw you out there in front of the statues and stuff talking with Raj. Shout out to Raj. Gave a really good, like, short and sweet assessment, like 3 minutes long of like what happened there. But just to kind of unpack that a little bit, I'll give a little bit more of my take since I wasn't on the video, and then I'll just toss it back to you. For me, it was just I heard a lot of the players and coaches were talking about effort, like the effort wasn't there and they weren't trying. And usually that's a huge red flag for me. Teams don't ever admit that, even when it's true, right? So for them to say that, that's usually like a really big like condemnation of the team. They're not giving that effort. Honestly, I don't think it was effort, even though that's what they said. I think it's just sometimes the team's just that much better, right? It's like if I don't know, like Ecuador's facing like Germany. It's like, well, one's just better. Like it's going to be really hard for you to win that game, even if you give your best effort. So while I think there's room for improvement, especially 3 point shooting, 3 for 20, that's like atrocious. I think it's just a matter of the team in front of them just has better players, and they just couldn't handle it, and that's why they got pretty much pummeled from the beginning. And they put up a little bit of a fight during like the fourth, a little, but I mean, it was like a borderline 20-point game entering the fourth quarter as it was. So I just feel like they never really had a chance in this one. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think the ultimate reason is just the Lynx are a title contender, and the Sparks are a contender for the number one pick of the draft, and that's the difference between the two teams. But what were your overall thoughts on that game?
Before we continue, let me know, people, if Edwin's sound is coming in cleanly, because on my side it's coming in a little bit choppy. I don't know if that's just because one of my speakers on my computer has been messing up a little bit. So if his sound is solid, let us know in the comments. If you want to send out comments, support the show, because we are the only podcast that talks Lakers, Clippers, and Sparks, all professional basketball teams in LA. Come to YouTube. You can send us a super chat. Any donation is appreciated. Trying to get the channel up to more subscribers. I see people tapping it on Twitter, but YouTube is always preferred. Shout out to everybody on Twitter as well. As far as what I thought about the game, man, I had a great seat tonight, fifth row. That vlog will be out tomorrow on my channel, the one he's referring to where I talk to fans. Choppy, both of you guys. Okay. Damn. Well, let us keep knowing, guys. Let us keep knowing about the audio, all right? We're trying to do our best here. But as far as the game went, man, the Lynx are, as you said, a real contender. They have a lot of size Nafisa Collier didn't even play tonight, but they have a lot of size with Dorka Juhas and Smith and even Bridget Carlton. Like they have the smallest players are their point guards, Courtney Williams and Heidemann, but they are very like feisty and aggressive. They have a lot of size in places, and they have a lot of shooting. I mean, like, not that many like big centers, but their forwards are big. And then they have a lot of shooting, a lot of people that can create shots. They move without the ball well. They play really aggressive defensively. And that size gives them, like, switching versatility. Kayla McBride is one of the best shooters in the league, in my opinion. Off the catch, on the move, everything. So Minnesota is the real deal. They're very disciplined. And that, Xanda Lucini was pissing me off tonight. Like, she was playing really well too. And I'm just getting used to a lot of the contact that's allowed in the W compared to the NBA. Like, I have to adjust the way I analyze the game. For example, like, there are times where Ari McDonald will be coming off a screen and she has the opportunity to turn the corner, where NBA players are typically just get in the lane. And, when she turns that corner, is she going to be bumped and there's going to be no call? Because a lot of times in the NBA, like a guy like SGA, he comes off a screen, he gets that bump, he's just throwing it up there and he gets the call. In the W, you don't see that. So, like, that being said, I still think there are times where Ari McDonald coming off the screen should, just hit the jets because she can, and, try to go into the context and see what happens. But she is 5'6", right? She is on the smaller side, and it's tougher for her. But, we're just outclassed by the Lynx. And I completely agree with your point that, and, I was in the fifth row, man, and you were right there in the same distance. Like, they did not roll over. And I don't think the Sparks do roll over. I think we play hard every game. I think it starts from the top. Dearica Hamby, I've not seen a more consistent player in their profession that and a team that I've supported, honestly. Like, she really is the definition of a pro, hard worker. Every game she brings it. But the fact of the matter is, without Lexi Brown, that's already down a shot creator. Without Cameron Brink, that's already down another solid offensive player. And it comes after that. It comes down to Ari McDonald, Rakia Jackson to create shots, and that's not, and a little bit, and of course Dearica Hamby. But this doesn't compare to the team, the creators that other teams have. So it really comes down to that, and it's tough.
Yeah, I think it takes usually like about a year for someone. At least it did for me to like kind of adjust to like the NBA to the W, and that's why sometimes when people just start tweeting out their thoughts, people they get like a little jumped on by the WNBA fans who know like, that's not how this is here. And it's like, yeah, it's definitely a lot more physical. It's a different game again. It's the same sport, but it's different enough that like you just need to like watch a little bit, and then like I said, after a year, you kind of get used to it. You know what gets called, what doesn't get called. Like for me, yeah, you're right. In the NBA, I know, oh yeah, it's a foul. In the W, I'm not crying about it because it's not a foul here. So it's like, okay, it's established. And as you'll see, kind of the same thing with the overseas and like international play, and like in the like Olympics for the women, it's going to be like a beatdown. Like they let everything go. Like there's like no calls in the paint. It's all just like whatever, no foul basically down there. So it gets even more physical in that aspect. So yeah, it's definitely an adjustment from the NBA. Is just a much more physical game. And I think that surprises people initially how much they get like let go of pretty much. Pretty much the only thing that gets called is like egregious shoulder bumps, or literally you miss the ball, like you hit the wrist, you hit the face, something where you just like come on, it's ridiculous. Other than that, all the bumping, all the shoving, they're getting a little bit more. They're calling a little bit more like screens and those kind of calls I've seen more this year. But even those, there's a lot of elbow stuff in contact that just kind of gets allowed. Basically, if you don't fall, they're not going to call it. And there's not really flapping in the W, so you don't really see too much of people just like throwing their body down and stuff. So because of that, it's just it's going to take like an egregious foul for it to be called. So that's how that is. But yeah, the Lynx are just that good. And yeah, I think the number one thing the Sparks need that we'll talk about way down the road when we get to like the offseason, they need that guard. They need that Jewel Lloyd. They need like a player that can just create on their own and physically just go up. They don't have to be crafty. They can just say, I can get to my spot and I can just shoot over somebody. And right now they don't have someone who can consistently do that. When McDonald gets hot, that's great. When like you said, when Lexi was around, she had her moments. Rakia, she can't hit threes like that, but she's good on the inside, game, which we've talked about. Like that's number one thing I want her to work on is like the outside shooting. You need to be a bigger threat. And then the team 3 for 20. And then coach talked about it post game. He said that it's good that we're getting good looks, but there's also a reason why those players are open. And I'm like, yeah, they're letting them open because they know they can't hit those shots, and they're like, okay, then it's just a matter of can we out rebound Hamby? And the answer is no, by the way. Hamby had the most points and rebounds from anyone on either team. So like you said, she brought it, and she still no one scored more than her, even though her team was blown out, and no one grabbed more rebounds, even though her team, I think they won the rebound battle by like 2, but clearly, they were getting destroyed. So she's been so consistent. You can set your clock to, her performance. But, it's like you said, as you know, it takes more than one person. You need a team, and right now they just don't have the team against the Lynx. And it's weird because they beat the Aces twice, so you're thinking, oh, they can do it. But that's just a matchup that's really good for them. And they've, played well in those games. But against the Lynx, it hasn't happened. Like you said, that's without Fee. I'm really glad. I don't even want to think about what would have happened if Fee was on the court. That could have been ugly. It was already kind of ugly. But, that's the situation the team's in. That's the kind of team they have at this point. It's just, sometimes, you just don't have the talent. And in a rebuild year, that's going to happen sometimes where you're just getting your butt kicked and there's not much you can do about that. So any other thoughts you have in this game before we go into PG talk?
Yeah, I mean, the Lynx, I think part of it is that they're the best defensive team in the league by defensive rating right now, right? And you see it with the perimeter ball pressure that they put on. Like, it's interesting. We always talk about when you sit close at an NBA game, you see just how incredible of athletes these guys are, how fast. Dude, I was in the 5th row tonight. De'Erica Hamby had the ball in the post. And, that's another thing that adds to the physicality. And this goes back to when you compare eras and stuff of why part of the game being more physical in the past is just due to stylistic things. Like when you are in the post more, you're battling for position. It's a lot more, bumping, pushing, shoving, all that. Like when you watch the amount of contact that Lee Yarou takes every single game when she comes in, it's like wild. She's constantly battling on the boards, constantly drawing or committing loose ball fouls at all times. So, it's physical. De'Erica's fighting for position. She gets the ball, and as she bumps and tries to spin, Courtney Williams, instantly came and helped as she turned her shoulder, and it was right there to take the ball away. And I was like, yo, she went through there so fast. It was just, you just get to see up close how quick these girls are. So, the Lynx are just a different level than us. They're a real contender, and I'm, nothing but respect for them. They're very annoying though, in their amazing 3-point shooting. It's very frustrating, just as an opposition. But the respect to them as a team. How about the Peely fan club tonight at the game?
Yeah,
cult
they
fan
came out
base.
for her. Yeah. There's a few of them that despite let's say not being remarkable yet in the W, they got that big fan base. And Alyssa's one of them. She was also loved in college. Like people were just like, she's a bucket getter. She was fun to watch last year. And yeah, that fan base is transferred over everywhere she goes. It's like a noticeable, noise for a role player at this point. You're like, why are they hyped up to this girl that drops 6 points a game, right? Same thing with Martin from the Aces. Because she was a Hawkeye and all that, and she, they're both decent contributors, but they're not their attention and fan base doesn't match the production on the court. So it's always interesting right now. They got these big stands. He's like, okay, that's interesting. And as you mentioned on Twitter, who got the biggest ovation? Juju Watkins, just from being shown on the big screen. The fans got up for it. Everyone was taking pictures, and yeah, she's a USC legend, and she's already a rock star and all that. Everybody knows she's up, and in a couple years when she's actually up, it's going to be man, talk about tanking. I would draft her right now if it was legally possible, it's going to be crazy. But yeah, that was definitely a fun time. And one thing, and like you mentioned, I think that's one thing I learned just in covering basketball. No matter what, I know it sounds silly because of course, but honestly, if you're a fan of the sport, try to find, the money can always be an issue, but try to find a way to watch as close to the floor as possible at the highest level possible. So whether that's WNBA, whether that's college, whether that's G League, it really helps. You see the game different. I don't know how to describe it, but you said, you see the speed, you see the lane, you see the power, you see passes, you see the court better. It's a better viewing experience watching on TV because it takes a little bit of adjustment being that close because you start to lose the angles because you're not zoomed out, but you see so much more of the nuance that once you kind of get used to it, you really feel it different. You see how far that skip pass is and how far and why that got stolen, why they got tipped. And it just really unlocks another level of knowledge when you sit closer. And that's definitely this one thing. Like I said, even G League, way cheaper. Go watch South Bay, go watch Brownie and them, and get as close as you can to the floor. And I'm telling you, you'll have a different perspective for like what's going on. It really does help seeing it as close as possible. All right, so that was lost. That was unfortunate. We'll get back to the Sparks in a little bit, but we have to talk about it. We've talked. I've seen you talk about it a lot on the timeline. We've talked about it a lot privately, but not publicly. Clippers free agency. One of the big things wasn't a move; it was a departure. PG gone. Now we saw Podcast P. He talked about the numbers. Now he's on his way to Philly. He's actually, technically he's there now. So done. Set it up. One, did you think it was likely he was going to leave? And now that he's gone, are you happy? Are you upset? Are you mad at the organization? Are you mad at him? Are you okay because you just understand that this was the logical course of action? Like, unpack it for me. What are your thoughts here, knowing now that PG is officially gone?
Well, it was kind of a shock. I mean, the last couple days leading up to the announcement that he was leaving, I started to think, wow, he's really going to go to Philly, isn't he? But nah, if you had asked me a couple weeks ago, like you said on this show, I think we talked about it on this show. I was pretty confident that he wasn't going to pack his bags and leave. I thought he really wanted to be in LA that badly, but clearly money talks, right? And when I saw the contract that he got from Philly, I was like, who can blame him? He has arguably a better chance to win a ring there. I would consider it one, yes. But, the way we traded everything for Paul George, he played poorly in the bubble, and then we re-signed him to a $176 million contract when he still had 2 more years on his deal, not just 1 more year on his deal, where it's like an upcoming summer free agency thing. He was extension eligible, and we extended him even though he didn't play very well and made a bunch of excuses. And, I mean, we all know what happened the next year. That's when he won everybody over. But these last 2 years, you've seen Paul's been very inconsistent. He hadn't been the most available the previous 2 seasons. This season, he was available, and he was awful in the playoffs. He was worse than Harden. And Harden was our best player in the playoffs, which, Paul was supposed to be that number 1 option when Kawhi went down. He didn't deliver. And we gave Paul George everything when he was here. And he kept saying he wanted to retire a Clipper. He owed this organization a championship. He would get it right. He made a lot of these empty promises, wrote these checks that he clearly couldn't cash. He didn't put the proper effort in the playoffs. I hate to say he didn't want it bad enough, but he didn't seem like he did. And a lot of games you could question his effort. So, me, I'm team blow it up, but right now we know that's not going to happen. And for the people that want the Clippers to have a chance next season, I just don't think that losing Paul George is beneficial. The thing that really pisses me off is I really wish we could have traded him for something that relates to the future, that relates to something past this era of Clipper basketball. But I'll say this, with the additions of Derrick Jones Jr., the return of Nicholas Batum, you got some filler pieces like Mo Bamba, and we'll see about Kai Jones. Then there's Kevin Porter, who else? I think I'm forgetting someone else. Oh, potentially Chris Dunn. We still don't know. The Clippers have somewhat retooled, but all those names I just named, that does not substitute what Paul George was worth for the team. And now if one of Kawhi or Harden are out, you're putting all the onus on that one other guy to do so much. So I am bitter at Paul George, just in the sense that he just talked a lot when he was here. He stuck his foot in his mouth. He didn't perform, and then he just bailed after we gave him everything. Look, it's not out of the ordinary for guys to get a pay cut when they've already made so much money. I get it. Go get your money. But the fan base can still feel a certain way about it. I appreciate him for everything that he did, but he really left home and walked away after we traded everything for him and catered to his every request, except, I guess, this one. So it is what it is. One step closer to having Kawhi and Paul George off the team, Edwin, and ultimately that's what I've been very public about wanting.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think it's fair. I think it's controlled. It's nuanced. It kind of painted the picture of what it was. 2-1-3 era is over, right? So for you now this part of it's over. Obviously, Kawhi's still there, and I understand from the Paul George perspective. You know how it is with the ego thing. It wasn't just the money. It was you gave that guy the money. That's the thing. You gave him the money. I want his money. And that's what he said. Like, if we're equal, the same thing. Shaq and Kobe went through the same thing. Oh, we got to pay him. You got to pay me the same. I want to get paid too, right? It's not even, I don't think it's necessarily about the money. It's what the money means. It's like, You took care of him, take care of me. And again, we can talk about talent, we can talk about the cap, apron, all that stuff, all those reasons, right? Compared to Clay, who we'll talk about in a little bit, right? It was a combo of money and also like opportunity and all those things as well. Because the Warriors could have matched that and were seeing that they were willing, but he was, different reasons why he wanted to leave out there. So now that we're at least done with this section, do you feel did you guys win that trade with PG? Did you lose that trade? Would you have still done that trade? What are your thoughts now that we're not all the way done with that era, but we're like, let's say halfway done with that
era? Well, I never thought we should have made the trade, but that's on Kawhi. We had to make the trade to get Kawhi. And if Kawhi's on the table coming off a finals MVP and you're the Clippers organization that we've never made it past the second round, you absolutely do that. And no matter what anybody wants to say, and the Laker fans will probably be the biggest contingent of people that are going to discredit it, but getting somebody like Kawhi Leonard in free agency over the Lakers, that gave the Clippers more credibility than almost anything that they've ever done. You know what I mean? To win the premier free agent. Like that's people wouldn't consider us. I remember we were on the list of teams for LeBron in 2010. We apparently got a meeting. I never in a million years thought that we were going to get LeBron because of Sterling. Nobody would want to come to the Clippers, and no one should want to come to them. But Kawhi Leonard coming in with the demands, I mean, I'm not a fan of that. You know me, I'm consistent. So he comes in with those demands. We trade our whole future for Paul George. And, his fans, the stands say, he wasn't his first choice. Like, dude, what is this, a Christmas shopping list? You have a choice of co-stars? If LeBron can come to the Lakers without a star yet and say, okay, let me see what assets we have and stuff before we make a move to get me the help, then Kawhi should be able to do it too. And we had a 48-win team there for him. And look, like here's the thing. If Kawhi doesn't get injured, though, so many of these years, maybe what I'm saying doesn't matter. And we're talking about this Clipper team a lot differently. As far as the Clippers organization, you couldn't have done anything different with the Kawhi trade. You had to do it because he was holding it as leverage. I wish that we hadn't done that. But in terms of winning or losing the trade, I think we've lost because I think the Thunder are going to make it to the conference finals or further. But here's what I'll say, Edwin. Until the Thunder make it to the conference finals at least once, they have not won yet. Because it's about the success, right? What you do.
Yeah.
So they will, but until then.
I got you. Until then, I feel like that's the one thing. Of course, we all like to troll and retweet the graphic, right, showing look what they gave up. But yes, the asterisk that you're mentioning is like, okay, that's a lot for Paul George, but it also brought Kawhi. If you don't do that trade, you don't get Kawhi, and in the end, there's never going to be a 2-1-3 era. And as fun as that team that you talk about is, they're not going to win the West, without that Pat Bev, Lou Will, like a very young SGA who I don't think anyone knew was going to be that good, including the Thunder. They're not gonna make that kind of noise. It was never gonna happen. I don't think that team makes a Western Conference final, right? They're just not ready. Like you said, SGA is still not ready. He's almost ready, but he's still not ready. So they definitely wouldn't have been ready with lesser talent around them, right? So I'm with you. You got to do the trade. In the end, like you said, if in the end, and again, injuries are part of it. That's unfortunate, but hey, that's part of it. Hey, our guy didn't get hurt. Your guy did. We made it. You didn't. Like, if that ends up happening, that works. And then with all the assets that the Thunder have, it's just ridiculous. But also those picks, it just depends, right? Like, you end up with such a war chest. Eventually, you need win now players. You're gonna have to start getting rid of those first round picks and stuff. Like I look at the AD trade, right, with the Lakers. Obviously, they won the title and they made the Western Conference Finals. The Pelicans couldn't dream of either of those two things. So like they super won that trade, right? But when you look at those first round picks, you also have to hit on those, right? Who of those did those players actually end up becoming for the Pelicans? Not really anything that's like, worthy of being like, oh yeah, that feels right. So I think some of those first round picks can be a little overrated. I know the Lakers are also going through that right now, not wanting to give them up. But it's like, it's really a crapshoot if those actually turn out to be anything substantial. It's really SGA that makes that trade, so painful. And then the fact that now you don't have picks, so you really can't rebuild through the draft. You went all in on these guys, and it worked in the sense of, on the one hand, it's more success than the Clippers have ever had if you look at just getting to the championship. But on the other hand, still falling short, and it's like, it's cool that, you, like, for example, you don't see it anymore, right? Oh, you guys never went to the Western Conference Final. You took that monkey off your back on that one, but it's still the title. But I've noticed a lot less trolling on the Clippers because of that. They at least made the Western Conference. It's kind of quieted down. So everybody knows. I think the not making the finals, that's kind of like not uncommon. It was the not even making the Western Conference Finals that was like that's two steps removed, So I think you probably also noticed the trolling's gone a lot less because there's plenty of teams that don't have a NBA title. That's not ridiculous. It was the not making the Western Conference Finals. It's like, man, that's two steps away. That's second round. That's you're pretty far, So now that that's gotten over, a lot of that trash talk from that subsided and kind of died. But yeah, I mean, ultimately the goal is to win a title, and if you get two players and you basically have a super team, and you get and throughout that you also got Russ and you had Harden, and got great players like Zoo, a lot of stuff, and I think that's from the Clippers' perspective, that's the part that's frustrating. All you hear about is kind of like it's been like a 180. Oh, they're such a great running organization. They just get it. They're taking care of it. They got the vision. They're doing everything the Lakers aren't doing right, and this and that. It's like, okay, but where's the title? It's like it's falling short, and then it's injury bug this, and this person wants that, and just hasn't materialized. And now, like you said, we're entering a different era. We'll see how this one goes, but I think it's going to be interesting how we look back on it, like in 5 years or so, how successful it was, how unsuccessful it was. And right now, yeah, definitely fall short, but also broke records you didn't have before. And maybe it's a year or two away from really blowing it up and doing that. But it'll depend. I definitely like Batum coming back. And I really like the draft pick you guys got. I think Cam Christie's going to be a player in the NBA. I think he'll be a rotation level player, which is really good to get the second round. Like that's how you start to slowly rebuild stuff. But I agree. A sign-in trade would have been beneficial. Get something for him. You don't want assets to walk away. It doesn't matter what you get from him. Get something. Get a second-round pick. Something. You can't have a superstar just leave and all you got was cap space. Like that's not it. Even the Warriors when KD left, they got a sign-in trade. They got a draft pick. I think that's how they ended up getting D'Lo as well. And those moves in the margins is how you kind of survive. He's already leaving. Get something for him. So I think that was definitely an error from them. You got to figure out a way to get something, even if it's not much in the grand scheme.
But would you have paid him the contract that he wanted to go over the second apron though? At this point, we got to this point by making some wrong moves, but at this point, the Clippers did the right thing this summer, in my opinion. With this,
yeah, I think at this point, yeah, you're right. I think they had to let him walk and say that's too. It's gonna neutralize this even more. We can't do it. So I think it was the right move for everybody, unfortunately. And I think PG did want to stay here. He likes being home. He likes being with his family. And just if you want that money, you got to go somewhere else. And yeah, it's just circumstances kind of causing that to happen, where teams are having to make tough decisions. It's making it harder with the second apron rules. And one day we'll go deep into what all those things are. But really, the issue is it doesn't allow you to use your mid-level exception. It limits the guys who get when they get waived in the buyout market. It limits you trading first-round picks. It limits how you can acquire money. It makes other trades that are legal in the first apron or not being under the apron impossible, like illegal basically on the second apron. It really does limit you. I think people haven't realized how limiting it is. And before, the question with trades and stuff was just like the big question you'd ask owners is, oh, are you willing to pay the tax? And now it's not even that. It's like, well, it's not only about paying the tax. It's like we can't neutralize ourselves like that. Like that just limits everything we can do. We can't do it because it would just mean that this is the roster for like years. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting seeing how things change here. I think the CBA, I don't know how they got through with all this because it really limits stuff. So, but hey, we'll see how that goes. All right, speaking of limitations, the Lakers. I think they're the only team in the NBA that has added 0 new players. There's not one new player. They ran it back, Diane. A 7 seed said, you know what? We're not changing a thing. We're bringing back Max Christie. We brought back LeBron. We said goodbye to Taurean Prince. We brought back Christian Wood. Like nothing has changed. There is not one new player. If you watch last year's team, it's the same team minus Taurean Prince. What's going on with the Lakers, man?
You're asking me. I mean,
yeah, I'm asking you.
I don't know. I should be asking you. Are there any more moves in the works? They're just gonna go with this, the new addition, JJ Redick behind, on the sidelines.
Pass to the back, y'all. So I think obviously Klay Thompson was the big one. That's what they wanted. I think everyone wanted that. And yes, is Klay the same guy? No. Is Klay a defensive liability? Yes. Am I scared that the minute he puts on that purple and gold, his 3-point percentage is going to plummet, and now he's just cashing a check? Sure, but I mean, it's Klay Thompson. He gives you spacing that no other player the Lakers have can provide, and he can still score. And again, he's a third option on this team. It's still going to be LeBron and AD. And man, LeBron and AD pick and roll, Klay weak side. Like, oh man, I was already dreaming of plays, man. It was going to be beautiful. So it was disappointing. His father really wanted him, Michael Thompson still was connected with the Lakers, still is play-by-play for the Lakers. He wanted it to happen, and it is definitely disappointing that even that, I think some people were kind of trolling the Lakers like, oh, even his dad wanted him to be there. That's how bad the Lakers are. I don't think it's a matter of how bad the Lakers are. I think it's a matter of money. The Mavs deal, I believe, was like, is it 2 years, $50 million? Is that what it was?
He didn't get 3 years from Dallas.
Let me look it up. I think it was 2 years.
Well, I'll say this about the
Lakers. The Lakers, I think, theoretically offered an extra year. Let me look it up while you go ahead and make a comment there.
No, well, I mean,
3 years, $50 million. 3 years, $50 million. There you go.
50 million, 3 years. So, really?
Yep.
That's not much.
I mean, yeah,
that's like 17.
Yep,
that's like 17 million a year.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good contract for the Mavs.
I think it's decent. I mean, I think as far as the Mavs, I think it makes them a funner team, but not a better team because I mean,
it lost Derrick Jones as well. It lost Derrick Jones as well.
Yeah, come playoff time. I mean, I'm salivating, thinking, ooh, I can either do I pick Klay, do I pick Luka? Like like they're gonna be picked a lot, especially in the playoffs. I think in the regular season they'll be fine because that's a lot of firepower. And you saw they could kind of like sleepwalk to a 5 seed. But if the goal is to win a title, I mean, I think I hate to say it, but the Celtics might have swept this team if Klay's on it too. Like defensively, that's just. I think people are underrating how important defense is, So for the Dallas Mavericks, I think that's the issue. At least with the Lakers, having Klay as a defensive liability, you can maybe mask that if you have Vando out there. Reeves gives you good effort. You got AD waiting in the paint. That really helps neutralize that. Basically Klay would just have to focus on running his defender, his offender, off the 3-point line and funnel them to AD. There's ways to kind of mask them. I don't know how you're going to mask Luka and Klay on the court at the same time in clutch situations. It feels like that's going to be you're really going to have to ask both of them to be like, hey, or can I guess Luka? Klay's also getting older. It's not only a matter of will. It's his skills declining. Can Luka be better and good enough that he's not getting picked on, and then they can just worry about Klay? Like I just feel like that's the only thing about that team. But I mean, it's definitely another player the Lakers couldn't get. It stinks. LeBron was willing to take less than the max, which props to him because he might be his last like big bag, and he was willing to sacrifice. He waited a little bit to get it going, get that contract signed, so that way the Lakers had that opportunity. They couldn't get it, and he still took a pay cut, but it was just $1 million and change to make sure that second apron. He made sure they stayed under it. So props to him for that too. He could have been greedy and said, F y'all, you didn't give me anybody. I'm just gonna take the max and play with my son and let's wrap it up. But he said, let me take a little bit less. Let's stay under that second apron. It gives us the ability, a little bit more flexibility, and make sure that we don't get locked in with all the stipulations of that second apron. So yeah, it's been frustrating. I think it's another off season where you keep hearing from Pelinka, it's like, oh well, if they don't want to play ball, what can I do? But at the same time, that's your job, right?
Well, there is an elephant in the room here with this whole Lakers aren't getting anyone thing, and that is, has the magic worn off? You guys are the fan base that think you can you have a God-given right to get anybody and everybody, and right now you're not getting anyone. It reminds me of the end of the Kobe days where no one wanted to come. But now here's the thing. I know I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna spin it. I know what you're gonna say already. So just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Finish your take. I want
No,
to
I
hear
mean,
it.
I was gonna predict what you were gonna say, but I want to hear you say it just to get the validation.
So I think that I don't think it's happening. I have to think long and hard. But again, I think it's a combination of everything, right? Like they don't have as much money, so it's tough. They don't have. They're not as appealing of a place because they're still a low seed, right? 7th seed, you're just like, where can I go, right? The Mavericks just went to the finals, even though I don't think they'll do that again. On paper, they look better, right? They won more games, yada yada. They made it farther, and also you will be playing third wheel. What's appealing, the reason why I'm not worried about the Lakers moving forward is the minute LeBron leaves, that's gonna suck. And a great player, you can't replace that. But you know what? Now I can tell a young player, do you want to be the guy? Because AD's a big, and he's as long as he's totally willing to give up that mantle, you can have the keys to the Ferrari. Right now, you have a seat inside the Ferrari. That's what they can sell you. It's still going to be LeBron and AD's team, and you're going to be third wheel. Now, there's good things to be in the third wheel. You're not going to get blamed. It's all going to fall on LeBron. It's all going to fall on AD. It's not going to fall as much on you, but you're also not going to get as much of the glory because it's going to be all about LeBron at 40, blah blah blah. So I feel like that's and Clay kind of owned up to it. He mentioned that the fan base, that pressure, he didn't want it. He basically said, I didn't want that. He wants to be irrelevant in Dallas with the 8 fans they have that like Luka and like Kyrie. And, 10 fans in Dallas that like Luka. He wants to be obscure, just shoot his threes, and not deal with that pressure. I mean, that's basically what he said. I mean,
that's exactly what I thought you were gonna say. You were gonna twist into these guys can't handle the bright lights. So you're gonna do that stuff.
That's what he said. That's what he said. Isn't that what
Man,
let me pull up the quote.
He literally, Klay Thompson played for a team that half of their games were on national television. But the state taxes thing we haven't mentioned. That's something he said was a thing, which is pretty funny. But come on, you guys.
Do you really think the state taxes?
No, probably. I mean, I don't know what Klay Thompson's reasoning is really for wanting to go to Dallas. He might, if he thinks. Your most relevant point to me was that look, they were close to winning the championship last year. They were as close as it gets. They lost in the finals. So, yeah, that is. And he probably thinks like, look, you never know. Like LeBron, in the next, is he going to retire in 2 years as opposed to Luka, who keeps getting better? You know what I'm saying? So that's
right.
That's probably somewhat enticing for him. But it is just interesting that the Lakers are not, all these names are being thrown around, the DeJounte Murrays, the DeMar DeRozans, and they really ended up getting nothing. But I feel like, I don't know, do you really think that you guys are done? You're going to walk into the season with the same exact team with just JJ Redick and no Taurean Prince and Bronny James like that and connect?
No, I think they'll probably make a small move. I think they will sign someone mid-level. I don't think it's going to be the splashiest deal. But I feel like we'll talk about that definitely way later. But I think people are underrating how good this team was. This team still won 47 games. This team will get better this year. I think they'll win more games. So I haven't. I think I'll do the prediction once I do my prediction once the preseason's over. Before any games happen, I'm going to literally predict every single game. I'll put it up on Twitter. It'll be right up there. But with that, I think they'll at least get 50. I think, honestly, last year's team was better. I think Ham just mismanaged the assets a little bit. And, again, they lost to the Nuggets, who, were disappointing last year, but they were the defending champs when they lost to them. So I feel like this team's not – I think LeBron was right when he said they're not that far away. Are they still far away? Yes. Are they top 4 right now? No. But they can be 5. They can be 6. And with the right trade, with the right move, a little bit of an improvement, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they snuck into top 4. And right now, you still have 2 number 1 draft picks that you can trade. You still have D'Lo on a very good contract. And we know this NBA season is going to change and evolve. They'll still have a good chance at the trade deadline with players like D'Lo, players like Rui, and two firsts. Maybe if they see the team, let's say at a 6 seed, at a 5 seed around Christmas time, they can say, hey, you know what? Let's go for it. We're going to go for broke. We're going to get whatever disgruntled players available. And let's one last shot. Let's go ahead. LeBron's got a player option for next year. Let's give him one more shot and then see what we can do. So I still think there's optimism. I think too much, as you know, with the Lakers fans, too much pessimism about they act like this is like a 30-win team that has no chance right now. They're going to be a good team. Now the West is going to be brutal, so it's going to be tough. But that's the West, right? The Spurs got better, the Mavericks got better, OKC's killing it. It's the way it is right now. So Memphis is coming back. So it's going to be tough. But I still have this team probably winning 50 games. I think they'll make some small, slight changes, and it'll really come down to how good of a job does Reddick do. And that's a lot to ask of him as a rookie coach. But if he can turn it around and just improve it a little bit, like I said, they weren't a bad team last year. They were the 7th seed. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes.
You're a better man than me because I think you guys
we've known this for a while.
I think you guys are plenty far away from a ring, just like we are. And if you don't make any moves, I agree with the trade deadline potentially, but like, dude, it was 4-1 in the first round. I'm pretty sure you got
okay. How many games were close? How many? Okay, yeah. Joker hitting these freaking ridiculous shots and Jamal Murray being freaking Dwayne Wade for a weekend. Like, all right, don't act like. And then guess what? KCP's out there too. So don't act like those games weren't close. They were knocking out, dragging out. Like AD said, he made a shot. Okay, he made a shot.
It reminds me of the series.
Oh, by the way, that D'Lo we love, Goose. Shout out to Golden Knight. Nothing. I gave just as much production in Game 3 as he did, which was absolutely nothing. So
he's still on the team, though. He's still on the team.
Shout out to D'Lo. I hope he's still on the team unless they can find a good package for him. But let's not pretend that. Okay, yeah, it was 4-1, but those games were super close. All of them were very close.
And you lost. Okay, the games were super close against the second round team. Yes, I mean the thing is, it reminds me of that old series, Detroit versus Cleveland in 2016.
Oh my God!
Where LeBron.
You know what? Gary Trent Jr. is a bucket. That's all I gotta say.
Is that the next Laker, Gary Trent Jr.?
Trent, he's a bucket.
Dude, Detroit versus Cleveland, for those that don't know. The 8th seed versus the 1 seed. Every game was close. But when it came down to it, LeBron and Kyrie knew they could turn it up at any time. That's Nuggets and Lakers.
I think the difference is I think the Nuggets were giving their best pretty much all the time. They couldn't blow us out. We were right there. But, hey, props to them. They have our number, clearly. It's been like 2-3 years now where they won 13 of 15 or whatever the stat is at this point. So I'll give it to them. So yeah, I think both teams have. I'll say this: the Lakers are neutral, and the Clippers got worse. So neither team went up. Neither team improved. I don't think you look at this Lakers squad and be like, "Oh, they got better." And I think same thing with the Clippers. I don't think you say they got better. I think we got less worse than y'all. But at this point, that sounds like two losers arguing about who's less worse. So.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, so we'll see. Work to be done on both sides. All right, cool. So we're going to go right into the recaps, and then we'll talk some Team USA basketball when we get there. So Friday, we had Sparks Aces. That was the game that happened this weekend. The Sparks were going on an 8-game losing streak. They lost every single game on this road trip. They got absolutely massacred. So, of course, they beat the defending champs with the point guard, Gray. It was their first loss with Gray. Dime, did you watch the whole game? Did you check it out? What was your takeaway? I mean, this was to me, the best win of the season for the Sparks.
Well, clearly we have a pretty good matchup against the Aces. Every single time we played them this season, all 3 games, they've been close or we've won. So I think partially the first thing is the, passion that De'Erica Hamby plays with. She really goes at and competes against A'ja Wilson. And a lot of players in the league would just have no chance against A'ja Wilson. De'Erica, obviously having played with her, she's not afraid of anything, and she gives them fits. And then we've gotten some big performances offensively from elsewhere against them. I don't remember if that was that the Ray Burrell game the first time we beat them. I don't remember if it was that one where she was just really, really good. But this game, I think it was, Ari McDonald, she had a hell of a game, coming off screens, making things happen, knocking down threes. And the amount of threes that we made in the game, that was just kind of surprising because we're not a very good 3-point shooting team. But you got 2 from Stephanie Talbot, who, by the way, before she got hurt, was playing her best ball of the season. She was getting more active on the glass. She's a very versatile defender. I liked how she sometimes will guard legit bigs, and she does a solid job. And then she obviously can hit the 3 here and there. So 2 threes by her. You had Rakia with 3 threes. I like that even though she was 5 for 17, she got 17 shots up. Again, I've talked about it many times on the show. I think We need to keep getting Rakia shots. She might not have the most efficient games, but we are not winning games this season. We need to get her more used to scoring and scoring a lot at the WNBA level, because the thing is, she's still our second leading scorer, and averaging double figures in the W is not like right now what it is in the modern NBA. It's like that's like how bad it was back in the day. Like if you average double figures, you got to, that's solid. So we're not a very high scoring team. She's our second leading scorer right now. I'll take that as a rookie. But yeah, Ari, 4 threes, right? 23 points in the game. So those are my main takeaways. Just amazing resilience. And I don't know, it's a weird matchup thing that we just play so well against them. But it starts with Hamby and her 28 and 14.
Yeah, for those who might not know, because maybe they've just been listening to the show, or new to the WNBA, Hamby had a very, very ugly breakup with the Aces. That was her team before. She was a sixth woman there. She was an all-star there, and basically they traded her, and it was so ugly that she filed a discrimination lawsuit against the team because they said that they were discriminatory to her pregnancy. And there's a whole investigation into it. Ultimately, at the end, the WNBA fined the Aces and took away, I think, 1 or 2 first-round picks. So they found enough to say, hey, we're going to penalize you for it. So it was ugly, and again, not a guilty verdict necessarily, but they were penalized. So it was a lot there. And that's one of the reasons why she takes it so personal. She doesn't like them because of that. There's beef, like real beef. Like, I filed a lawsuit against you, like beef, So and that gives the game a little edge. Like you said, she always brings it, but she brings that little extra. And then the matchup, I think, is all of it too. It's like, you treated me bad. Everyone says A'ja Wilson's the best player, and she is, but she's like, tonight you're not gonna be. I'm here tonight. Like let's go. And you could tell that they had that energy, that fire. A'ja Wilson's always bringing it, so she doesn't really need anything else. So it was just a lot of intensity. Kurt Miller used to coach the coach of the Aces. So there's a lot of history back and forth between the two. And then, of course, it's defending champs. So you always want to, like, ball out against the champs and say, hey, like, we might not bring it every night, but, like, tonight against the champs, we can do this. So that all those factors factor in. They also beat them before, and then they beat them again. So next time it's going to be, must see for sure, because I'm sure they're going to be fired up. And, yeah, I talked to McDonald after the game, and I basically asked her, like, why she had a career high here. She kept texting Kelsey Plum, and like, what did she see in that matchup? And she basically said that Kelsey Plum doesn't play defense like that. She picks and chooses. Yeah, it's. I'll send you the quote, but it's on Twitter. She was like, yeah, she said it like respectfully, but then she said the words. She's like, yeah, she picks and chooses when she plays defense, and you can't do it against me. And I knew I had an advantage, so I kept piling on. And if you look, that's why she had a career night, literally the best night of her career. And it wasn't 8 points, it wasn't 12 points, it was it was in the 20s, so 23 points. So that was significant. And if you look at the game, that's how it was in the fourth quarter. She kept attacking. Plum even had a chance to win the game. On the last shot, they left her open, mid-range jumper on the corner. She missed it. And then the Sparks were able to win it in overtime. So it was a great win. Definitely the win of the season for sure. And, just kind of goes to show, if they bring their best, yes, they can even beat a top team like that. And they knew going in the last time they beat us, they're in a losing streak, and they still weren't able to get the W. So that makes it so sweet for the Sparks. One of the nice wins in a season that has had good moments, but not good victories. This was a great one. All right. We're going to get into a little bit of Summer League action, because on Saturday, the Lakers, believe it or not, they're in the Cali Classic. They're playing Summer League. The Clippers are not. They're going to join everybody else in Vegas, so they'll be part of that one. Dime, we haven't talked about Summer League here. I just want to hear your overall thoughts. What do you think about Summer League? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you not care? What are your thoughts about Summer League basketball?
I just didn't watch it much growing up, and I don't usually watch much outside of like the top picks. Now that I do Locked On Clippers, I watch the Clipper games, but I think it's great. I think Summer League is good. It's good competition. It's good practice for guys that want to be in the league and are getting ready for the league, or even trying to just get more reps.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I didn't watch much as well. I think for most people, they didn't watch. One, it was hard to watch. There's a good documentary the NBA TV aired of 25 years of the Summer League in Las Vegas, and they talked about the early years. They weren't televised. They said like in 2009, you paid $10 and you watched a really bad server. That was how you accessed it, and then it got televised. So it's only been even close to what it is now for like 5 to 7 years, where it's like, oh, actually, you could just turn on your TV and go, and like and the stadium's filled and stuff like that. It's already been 20 plus years, but it's only been at this level for like 5 to 10 tops. So it's still really like now it's kind of the event, the place to be, but it hasn't always been that way. So it's normal for you to be like, yeah, no, I don't. There's very few people who can be like, oh yeah, I've been watching it like all the time. Like, no, you haven't. No one was. It's fine. So it's a old thing, but new in terms of popularity and being at this level. So yeah, I'm with you. I feel like it's kind of like freshman orientation or something. It's like, hey, it's here just for like get some reps in, play a little bit, kind of get used to what it's like to be a pro, feel a little bit of that pressure, a little bit of the stadium has an energy. There's a buzz. People are looking for a reason to get hyped. And when dunks happen, last second shots happen, or games get close, that energy comes in. And especially for those top picks, like you said, like when the top picks come, when Wemby was there, it had a huge energy. It was like a party in there. Everyone was, you saw everyone overanalyzing, oh, he played bad his first game, this and that, right? It was a big deal. It's like, guys, this is summer league, like chill out. And it's like, no, they're not chilling out. It's like box office. Everyone wants to see the alien and stuff like that, and Zion had his moments too, and Blake Griffin had his, and Dwight Howard has his, right? And even Bronny being a second round pick, the place is going to be like every pat, they're going to be on his head. They want to see either him show flashes of LeBron with the dunks and the steals and all that, or they want to see him go 0 for 5 and boo the hell out of him. Like it's going to be like a buzz when he plays for sure. So that's what that energy is. But in general, yeah, good to see the kids play, get their feet wet, and this year is kind of a year where there's not that big pick, but as you know, every season there's going to be players and surprises. So we're going to get a glimpse of that and kind of start to see who of those players are potentially, all-stars, contributors, players who can help right away. I remember Jaquez kind of had a good summer league. I remember he was killing the Lakers in the Cali Classic, and it was kind of a sign of, hey, this guy can play now. Pods right away, summer league, he was already good, and it bared out in the actual regular season. So it's just tough to figure out who those players are going to be, but we're going to get a little taste of, hey, this guy might hoop, guy might be better than he was drafted. We get a little bit of that this next couple weeks, and we got a little bit of that with Lakers Kings. Unfortunately for the Lakers, there wasn't much on their side. It was 108-94. They lost. You didn't get a good game from anyone except for Maxwell Lewis. I feel like Maxwell Lewis was one who really shined for the Lakers in this one. He kind of looked like a step above everybody else. Right away, I think he scored in a dunk and had like a little basket. He was really nice. That's the one thing for sure with summer league. People always ask me, what am I supposed to watch for? What matters? What doesn't? And for me, I'm like, with the rookies, everything with a grain of salt. You just want to see some raw ability. With the 2-year guys, you want to see them look like they're head and shoulders above the competition because it's their second year. That means they've already played in the NBA or they've played a lot of G League. They should look like they don't belong. If they look like they're still struggling, that's when I put the red flag on. Because I'm like, okay, you should be beyond this already. You're grown, right? And at least for this game, Maxwell Lewis looked how you wanted to look. He was shining. He was killing it. You're like, okay, cool. You look like you're a step above here. Great, because you should be. It's your second year. But that was kind of my biggest takeaway there. Bronny, he kind of underwhelmed a little bit. He was very I think passive, especially in that first half. You mentioned he had butterflies in that, which is natural. But I just wanted to be a little bit more aggressive. Stop me if you heard about James needing to be a little bit more aggressive, but he was trying to play the right way. He was just kind of passing, distributing. He didn't really take a shot until I think like the third quarter was his first field goal made. He was 2 for 9. And Dalton, like his defense was what worried me a little bit. Well, he was a little bit slow-footed out there, and I was like, they don't like to see that. And again, puts the Laker jersey on. All that three-point shooting went out the window. 1 for 4 from the three-point line. 3 for 12 from the field. So he kind of had a tough game. And then Tommy Kuz. People like Kuz. Unfortunately, Kuz is a little bit older, so I'm not sure if that's going to be the guy there. But it was fun. That's one of those summer league stories. It's fun that he got a bucket and he was killing it. Looks like a blog boy out there. But no, I do not expect Tommy Kuz to make the team or anything like that at this point. It was just like a fun moment. Don, did you watch this Lakers Kings Cali Classic? And if you did, what were your takeaways from the game?
No, I didn't see any of it, but the way you're talking about Bronny, I just think I wouldn't expect him to try to create his own shot because I've never seen him do that at USC or at USC. I didn't see any full Sierra Canyon games. So
yeah, no, I think that's not his game really. He's going to be I think if he pans out in the NBA, he's going to be a solid defensive player. He does good on the perimeter. He comes off as like a backup guard. He can give you 6 to 9 points. On a hot day, he'll give you 18. Numbers will be like 6, 4, and 2. And the reason he's out there is because he's a defensive specialist. I think that's probably like where Bronny's going. And I think that's kind of what he's gearing towards and what he's working towards. So that's what I think is going to potentially be a spot. The worst case scenario is, he's a bust and he's out the league in like 2 years, and that's how it'll go. So again, the basketball is going to decide that. But this game was a little lackluster from him, but he's not the only one. Dalton also struggled. So again, it's summer league. That's not the end all be all of his season. He did miss the next game. Back to backs to me in summer league is crazy. Like, it's summer league. We only got why are we having back to backs? But I get it's all cramped. I just think it's kind of ridiculous. He didn't play in that one. Pretty much everyone else did. And that was the next game against the Warriors. This one was ugly. It was, and people said I was exaggerating or like it's just summer league, but I was just saying the honest truth. It was one of the worst games of basketball I've ever seen. That's how bad they played. They played awful. Like, they looked so much worse than the night before. They looked like they didn't know what they were doing offensively. They looked lost. They looked confused. The Warriors were like a well-oiled machine, and it was like, what's going on? And they were just awful. And then Maxwell Lewis, I just praised him, right? The next night, 0 for 8. Didn't make a bucket. He put up vintage D-Lo, playoff D-Lo was in full effect there. He was just like, it's like, what happened? They went 4 for 34 from 3 as a team. Like, it's impressive how bad they were. 68 points. 68 points. That's all they could muster. They were down by 20, I think, with like midway through the second quarter, and they kind of stayed there for the most part. It got down to like 15, then went back up to 23. Like, just awful, awful play. And then it was classic hero ball you'll see sometimes in G League, and you'll see in Summer League, where players are like, hey, I'm trying out for everybody. Let me go get my shot. But it was the worst version of that, because not only did players start to get tunnel vision, they were also missing the shots. So it was like the worst of both. Like, you're ball hogging and you're missing. This is awful. And you just saw players, missing bunnies, getting offensive rebounds. They're not kicking out to open shooters. They're just trying to force it. Fouls aren't getting, just awful. And the Warriors, they're killing it. They're passing, they're distributing, they're making their buckets. It just, oh man, it was ugly. Like I said, another tough game for Dalton. It was one of the few games I've seen, Dime, how bad it was. Not one player can I highlight, like, at least you had a good game. No one had a good game. Not even from an individual selfish standpoint did anyone have a good game. And I see you smiling there. I know you like to see our misery, but this was this one was rough. There are no takeaways. What you do with this game is you grab it and you ball it up and you throw it in the garbage, and you hope that tomorrow when they play against the Heat, you see none of this, because this was disgusting. And that's about all I have to say. Does it matter? No. Is it a big deal? Not really. But it's just like, you can't play that ugly. That was really like, you can't. You can't play that bad. That's really, really bad. It looks like none of you belong in the NBA. I don't care if you're unsigned, two-way, first round, second round, like none of you. None of you are making the league if this is what you can do. So I'm expecting a better showing against the Heat, but I'm going to leave it at that unless you have anything to add, and then we can move on.
No, I got nothing. And by the way, I don't mind if the Lakers win the Summer League or lose every game in the Summer League. Summer League doesn't matter to me in terms of results.
No, me too. I mean, I prefer to win because winning is better than losing. But again, this is definitely a scenario where it's more about the youth development. Like, people have to remember that you have to judge these games differently. It's more about your youth and how they do. I remember last year, like, LJ Figueroa had some good minutes. People were like, "Oh, look at him! He had like 23 points." I'm like, "Yeah, he's like 24 years old. Like, he's supposed to do that. Like, he can dunk. He's good, but he's not an NBA. Like, this is different. You gotta grade it differently. We're almost like scouting. That's really what we're doing. We're like scouting a game that's just being counted because that's how games work, But the point, like you said, the wins and results don't really matter. What really matters is like who looked good, who looked bad, and do your young prospects look like they have NBA potential based on how they shoot, how they run the offense, how they pass out of double teams, how they rebound, like are they communicating, like the little stuff, the nuance is what really matters here. Wins, losses are not going to matter so much. But yeah, I mean, I prefer to win, but more than that, I'd rather the Lakers lose every Summer League game and their two-way players and their two rookies look amazing. If that happens, I'm thrilled. Lonzo Champion Summer League was the best one. Yeah, that was fun. That team was, but that team was stupid, right? Like literally everyone was a starter in the NBA. Like, you had Lonzo, you had Kuzma, you had Bi, you had Zoo. It was like that was like a unicorn team. Like you'll never get a team where like, oh, actually they're all NBA players. Like all of them. Like that was ridiculous. But yeah, this team's probably not anywhere near that level of excellence. All right, so let's go back. Again, we're ping ponging. We're going to go back to Sparks. They played the Mercury on same day, Saturday. It was like I think 30 minutes after the Laker game. It was Sparks Mercury. This one was again. I think this was a winnable game. They lost 84-78, but I felt like this. I had to watch the replay after because I was covering for some role the Lakers game, so I had to watch it after and just kind of saw it through tweets and then watch the recap there. Yeah, Natasha Cloud, 31 points. Yeah, it was just a monster game there. And these are the ones that I feel like are the frustrating ones because the Sparks have to win the games that are winnable. And for right now, the games that are winnable are the games against the teams that are also at the bottom with them, like the Mystics, teams that are there in that 5-17, and then a couple of those fringe teams. You try to split the games with the Fever, the Sky, the Mercury, the teams that aren't the juggernauts. They're that in between, kind of the middle class of the W. You got to get some of those wins, or else where are the wins going to come from? They're just few and far between, right? And I feel like this is one of those games that they could have won. They probably should have won. And I think that's the one that's disappointing. They came out really poor, 25-15. Again, you spot a team 10 points. That's a shame. A golden night there. I missed my goal. Camp Brink. I mean, yeah, Camp Brink was incredible, just an amazing defender, and getting better and better as a scorer. So that kind of I think the defense too. That's one thing that's been a struggle for the Sparks. I think they play good team defense, but they don't have an elite individual defender, and Brink is that. That's been something they've been also missing. Dime, did you catch the Mercury Sparks game? And if so, what were your takeaways?
Sadly, I only got to see the first half so far, but I want to go back and watch the second half to see Rakia's scoring. But yeah, Natasha Cloud was just getting off to a crazy start, knocking down threes. I mean, she can really shoot the ball. That is something that I forgot to mention that I remember towards the beginning of the season, our defensive rating was definitely better than our offensive. And I checked today, and now we are, I believe, 10th in defensive rating and 9th in offensive or something like that. But when we had Cam, the defense didn't really look that bad oftentimes for me. It was mainly the offense. We struggled to score so much, but yeah, it's tough that we haven't been able to get one win on the Mercury. I feel like we should be able to beat them sometimes. There was that game that Diana Taurasi went crazy on us, and then she didn't even play this game. So I'm interested to see the second half of that one. I'll probably go back and watch it. I've only missed one game this season. It was one of those away games against the Mercury.
Yeah, it's I think the thing that, especially if you rewatch the early Sparks games with Brink, it would have funneled a lot to her. She was like almost like the point of attack on defense, but from the bottom. The Lakers do the same thing with AD, where it's like, and AD would even AD personally, not Brink, but AD would mention how frustrated he'd be. Like they kind of like basically blow the defensive assignment and I clean it up, and then if I don't get the block, they get the putback because I'm not there to protect the rim. Because I have to come out, and it's like, well, I only had to come out because so and so got killed on the wing, and then I had to help. It's like it's frustrating. With Brink, I think that it wasn't that they got beat; they just kind of funneled them that way, and then it was like intentional. And then she was protecting it, and Hamby's pretty decent on the rebound, so it was working really well. Without having that dominant rim protector there, it's just kind of tough right now, and that's been the biggest issue I think with them there. It's allowed for more points in the paint. It's allowed players to be a little more comfortable taking the three because they know they can. It's a 50-50 ball. If there's a miss, and even though Hamby's doing a pretty good job, that's still just Hamby by herself down there. Lee's not exactly an elite rebounder. She's giving an effort, but she's still got to kind of get used to that physicality and kind of get there. So, yeah, I think it's been an issue for sure. There's no coincidence when your best defender's out for the season, your defense is going to dip, and that kind of size and ability, like you just can't replace it, right? It's the same reason why the Lakers win. AD's off, right? The defense just off a cliff. It's just like you just can't replace it, and you don't have the perimeter defenders to kind of take care of it and say, okay, we're gonna just dominate the ball and like ball denial and all that. They just can't do that. So they were struggling. So yeah, frustrating loss here. Not as frustrating as the Lynx one, but it was one where it's like, okay, but this team, like you can beat this team, like you totally can, and they fell short. And Kurt Miller mentioned it in the press conference. He's like, if we play like this, we're gonna get beat by 20 by the Lynx, and that's pretty much what happened. So he saw the vision here of what was going down. All right, cool. So before we get into the upcoming games, we have a lot of games. We have Sparks games. We have Lakers Las Vegas Summer League games. We have Clippers Las Vegas Summer League games. We have Team USA games. That's right, because we have Laker representation with LeBron and AD, and we have Clippers representation with Kawhi Leonard. He's out there. The claw's out there trying to get the gold. So, yeah, as you can see, Dime is so proud to have a Clipper representing America. Proud Patriot, Dime. Yeah, there it is. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
So Dime, one, have you seen any of the clips just in general, of the USA team before they have their, official exhibition here? Have you? What are your thoughts on the vibes of this Team USA team, just in general?
Well, I will say, man, looking at the collection of talent, that is the best USA team we've had since 2012 in terms of talent. I think the on-court fit could be even better than 2012. I'm fairly critical of 2012. I think they're the most overrated USA team in history. I think people look at the names, but yes, I swear. I watched all their games. We literally almost lost to Lithuania if it wasn't for LeBron bailing us out at the end of the game. I think 2008 Redeem team was better fit-wise.
Yeah.
I'm a Redeem team fan because we hadn't won. We had just come off that loss to Greece. Or was it Argentina? We lost to Argentina in the Olympics, Greece in the FIBA. So we had something to prove. I prefer the Redeem team. I think 2012 was a great collection of talent, and I hate when people use that average margin of victory thing because we literally completely destroyed that with the win against Nigeria, and that really, made the averages a little bit more misleading. But yeah, I just don't feel like that team had the best chemistry. It was just a lot of talent. This team has a lot of incredible talent. What's interesting is I legitimately don't know who the best player on the team is. I really don't. I don't know who the best American player is. I thought it was Tatum for a while, but I don't know if it's Tatum. I think Ant-Man might be. When healthy, though, I think Kawhi's in the conversation.
Did you see what the players voted?
The players voted on this?
Yeah, they did a straw poll. The Athletic has it. Do you know who they voted?
Ant-Man?
LeBron. He got 5 votes. Yep.
5?
Yeah. He got 5 votes. I'll pull it up. He got 5 and a couple players got 2. Let me pull it up. Yeah, the Athletic did an article on it. They asked them privately, so we don't know who voted who, but they're like, yeah, LeBron got 5 votes for best player.
Well, you don't even think we don't Laker fans at this point, have we accepted that Anthony Davis is the best friend of the Lakers? So how could LeBron be the best friend on this team?
I think it might be because of the leadership and the communication. Well, and also with practice, maybe he just goes a little more intense than AD does.
Well, he's LeBron.
And also game on the line, like I said, because of his position, they might be like, we're gonna write on LeBron. I mean, again, AD had the game-saving block against the select team in practice, so like AD's cooking too. But I mean, that's how they voted. That's
LeBron. I mean, it's LeBron. He has that experience. He has that aura. He has the 2 gold medals.
Respect for sure.
He's LeBron James. I mean, but I don't think he's the best player on the USA team at age 40 or age 39. You still have Steph Curry. One thing I'm really excited to see, man, is, I mean, I wouldn't say really excited, but I am intrigued to see it. Steph Curry and LeBron playing with each other.
Ooh, I can't wait.
And LeBron just being able to have a movement shooter like Steph on the court with him is crazy. And you still have KD out there. I just hope Kawhi gets as little playing time as possible. Like, that guy shouldn't even be out there as far as I'm concerned. But hey, man, America. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I'm going to be, I just don't want him to hurt his value. That's all.
Wow. Okay. I have the article, but I can't see the exact the numbers. Besides that, LeBron was the number 1.
And that team is really good. That team is really damn good. Kawhi, Tatum, Devin Booker, Bam, AD. Although the Embiid, it's interesting. I want to talk about the Embiid thing for a sec. That's a little interesting to me because we're not used to seeing it in USA basketball, where a guy that's like a legitimate foreigner plays on the American team. Although I think Hakeem Olajuwon might have done it once, right?
I'm not sure. I think so. I think you're right.
I don't know if it was the Olympics or the World Cup that he played or FIBA that he played, but these are legit foreigners with accents playing for the team. But here's the thing. For our soccer team, I don't bat an eye about it because I'm like, oh, we need all the help we can get. So I think I felt like I'm being
You're like, do you have an
hypocritical.
American passport? Yeah, you are a little bit. I mean,
Embiid,
it's a different sport. I'll give you that. But.
Embiid went to high school in America, but like he still has the Cameroonian accent, the West African accent. I don't have a problem with him playing on the team. I just feel as though like we don't need more help. But here's my angle with Embiid. Him and Pascal Siakam, yeah, they wouldn't win a gold medal, but that team could be kind of fun. Cameroon?
Yeah, that would be a fun team. Yeah, that would be a fun team. I mean, he made his choice. He was eligible. They didn't break any rules or anything. I get what you mean. You're like, why isn't he down here? I don't think of him as an American, even if he is American, right? They're like, I feel like you could represent the other country, maybe just go there. But obviously, he made his choice and he wrestled with it and he decided, hey, I'm going to go with Team USA. So, and he's good enough to make the team. So he can make any team he wants, 2008 was better than 2012, says Golden Knight. Yeah, I agree. 2008 definitely was better. I give LeBron a lot of props for that 2012 one, though, because he like you said, he did carry during those clutch moments. And we'll see who's going to carry this one. If there is it, are they going to run the floor? Obviously, we know they're not going to blow everyone out by 40. There will be some close games. I think they'll take care of business, and I think that I think you will see Brown with the ball hitting some big shots. It's going to be dope. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to these games. It's going to be in Vegas. Everything's happening in Vegas right now. It's going to be like Summer League, Team USA before they go to Abu Dhabi. So it's going to be interesting watching them play and who starts. Kerr was criticized a lot for that FIBA loss and his rotations. If he's making mistakes here, you already know they're gonna. If he loses with Curry again, giving Curry all this help, it's gonna be pretty bad. So we'll see. All right, so let's go ahead and start doing some predictions on these games. Tomorrow we have actually Lakers Heat, Cali Classic. Obviously, it's Summer League, so we're just gonna kind of go off vibes. But Dime, who you got winning here? Baby Lakers, baby Heat.
Noah Hyman Hawkins here, right? He's not playing Summer League anymore, right?
No, he's not. Yeah, he's not.
Okay, then. Let's go with the Lakers.
I'm going Lakers, too. They can't get swept, man. They can't lose every Cali Classic game. I'm going Lakers. They already said that Bronny's going to play. Bronny's going to kill it. He's going to have 8 points. It's going to be cute, and we're going to win the game. And Dalton's finally going to look good. All right, later on, we have Lakers Heat, 4 p.m. West Coast time, 7:30. That's the main event. Team USA, Team Canada, Las Vegas. Fox Sports 1 is going to broadcast it. What's going to happen there?
This is a pre-Olympic thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Tune-up
preparation game. Yeah, tune-up game. Yeah.
I mean, if that's like preseason, man, I don't know who's going to win that. I mean, the USA should win every game that they play against anybody with this squad. But
yeah. I mean, they're going to take it serious. I mean, they have to. It's only a couple weeks before the Olympics, so
I'm just going to say USA in every single game because we should win every single game. This team's ridiculous.
We'll go USA all the way. All right. Next game we have is on Friday, which actually I'll be there. I'll be at Summer League Friday through Monday. So if you're watching this or you want to say hi, it's also on my Twitter and everything. I'll be covering all the stuff happening with the Lakers. I'm going to try to squeeze in the Clippers game. It's on Friday, which we're going to talk about, but I might not be able to due to my writing job. But if I can, I'm going to sneak in there and do a live hate watch from Vegas of the Clippers there. But let's talk about the
hate watch Summer League. Oh my God, you monster!
Yeah, that's the goal. If I finish my articles on time, I'll head over to the Cox Pavilion and hate watch some Cam Christie.
Cam Christie, you're a Laker family member you're hating over here.
Hey man, brother's brother, All right, so Lakers, Rockets. Dime, what do you think for the Summer League prediction? Lakers, Rockets. Who you got?
I'm going with the Rockets. But are the guys that are young that are actually on their team? Any of them going to play in this?
I think some of them are. I haven't taken a look at their full roster, but I think they will. They're so young. They're definitely going to have some players.
Is Amen Thompson playing?
Let me go ahead and look up the Houston Rockets Summer League roster.
I'm going to go with Houston.
Take a quick look.
I'm going to go with Houston anyway.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna pull up their full roster here, and then we can just go with that, and then you'll have that information here. All right, so we got AJ Griffin, we got Nate Hinton, Trevor Keels, Carl Lewis Jr., Mike Miles, Orlando Robinson, Jermaine Samuels Jr., Reed Shepard. There you go.
Okay.
We got Shahada Wells.
I'm going with Houston.
Fabian White Jr.
There's no.
Cam Whitmore's going to be there.
Okay, that makes me even more confident.
Nate Williams, yeah. You know what? Summer League. I'm gonna be a homer. We're gonna take care of it, baby. We're gonna establish it. Bronny James breakaway. We're gonna clip the 115. I'm gonna write it down. Bronny James will have a steal. He'll steal the ball from the wing, and he's gonna take it from the wing straight there. Bang, dunk. It's gonna look just like his dad. The play's gonna go crazy, and it's gonna be the talk of the town. Houston Rockets. You heard it here first. All right, so that's gonna happen. Lakers gonna win. All right, Clippers Nuggets. Now again, I'm actually a Cam Christie fan. I think he's going to be a good player. Like I said, he's a rotation player. Really, if I do get a chance to sneak over there and watch that game, I'm going to. If I do get a chance, I will ask him some questions and see what he's like there. That's going to be my goal. If I'm allowed to, based on the work that I have to do, I'm going to go check it out. So I'm looking forward to that. If I get a chance to watch it, it'll be at 7 o'clock on NBA TV Friday night. Who do you got? Clippers, Nuggets.
I'm going with the Clippers.
You know what? I can't. That's terrible for me. I don't want either team to win.
Dude,
but I'm gonna go Clippers.
That's insane.
Yeah. We got another summer league game that I'm definitely going to be highly invested in coming up here in a moment. But all right, Saturday we're ping ponging back. WNBA Sparks Wing 12:30 game, so it's early. CBS. Dime. The Dallas Wings are also a team that's been struggling. They've been losing a lot of games, so it's kind of an even game here. Who do you have here?
It's in Dallas, right?
Yes.
I think I'm gonna go with the Wings. I think Enrique will just find a way to get 30, and we just won't have anything to match that.
I'm gonna go with the Sparks. I think they're gonna win this one. I think that the Wings are just struggling, and I think even if she does get 30, I think the Sparks will win it out. So I'm gonna go with the Sparks here on Friday. All right, Sunday, heading back to Vegas. We got Clippers Nets. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus, which I think is weird because that's an exclusive. But ESPN Plus, Clippers Nets. I'm going to go with Brooklyn. They're rebuilding. I think they'll actually be trying to win games, which is a bad thing to be trying to do. But they're going to actually try to win that one. Who do you got, Clippers Nets?
I'm going with the Clippers.
Okay, cool. So we're split there. All right, Monday. We've been in LA. We've been in Dallas. We've been in Vegas. We're going to Abu Dhabi, baby. Team USA versus Australia, 9 a.m. game. So if you work, you might want to call it in or you'll start your work week watching Team USA beating Australia there. Who do you got? Team USA, Australia, Abu Dhabi, and the call.
USA.
Perfect. I love it. Okay, and then final summer league game. Oh, no, actually, final Lakers summer league game for this week. This is the one. We have to win this game. Lakers, Celtics, 7:30 NBA TV. I'm gonna be there. You think I'm gonna boo? Like I might get my credential pulled on the last day I have my credential. Lakers, Celtics. I'm going Lakers. Who you got? You got Baby Tatum over there?
Nah, I think I'm gonna go with the Lakers winning it, but who knows? Who knows what could? Yeah, I'm going with the Lakers, man.
I appreciate that. All right. Tuesday, we got Spark Storm again. We're heading back. It's the final game before the All-Star and Olympic break, so they'll take a full month off. So it'll be a little bit weird here. We'll probably be focused more on Team USA and stuff like that during that break because there won't be any WNBA. And once the summer league's over, there'll be a little bit of a gap here. So Spark Storm. Who you got, Dime? Tuesday night.
Storm, but that's a significant game for the Sparks.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's the last game of the break, so it'd be great to go in it with a win. So
something else, of course. Nneka Ogwumike's return to LA.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Nneka. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be there because if you do the math, if I'm in Vegas at 7:30 watching Lakers Celtics, and then that's over. Yeah, and I'm driving back. I'll talk to my boss about that one. In 12:30 game, that I would have to damn near pull an all-nighter, drive straight from one stadium to the other.
Yeah, I already missed a club team. My club team's practices for this game tonight, so I won't be able to go. But any Sparks fans in attendance, man, give Nneka a hero's welcome. She deserves it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's gonna get the treatment for sure. I'm sure DJ Mulsky's gonna make sure she gets the flowers there. All right, and then our final game we're gonna preview here. We got Clippers Bucks 7:00 on Tuesday, ESPN2. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'll go Clippers. I'll go Clippers in this one. How about you, Ben?
I actually like our summer league roster because Kobe Brown, Jordan Miller, these guys played in the summer league last year. So I think that honestly, we have a little bit of an advantage. So I'm just gonna go with us. But that's also not knowing the other team's stories and experience in the summer league. But being biased, why not?
Yeah, why not? Okay, cool. All right, so there you go. So we have so much to recap next week. We got Team USA, we got Summer League, Lakers, Summer League, Clippers, Spark. So we're really jam packed, and as things will go on, they'll kind of even. It'll never be this crazy again, I don't think. So, all right, cool. So that's gonna wrap it up here. That's the end of episode 33 of Basketball on Figueroa. Once again, I'm your host, Edwin Garcia. That was / is Tar-E-N Viziri, aka Dime Dropper. We out. Go USA, go Lakers, go Sparks, go Clippers.